My beloved child. Stop scrolling, because what you are about to hear was not placed in front of you by accident. Something is waiting for you here. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Because there is a message moving toward your spirit right now, quietly, powerfully, and if you have found these words, then somewhere deep inside you already felt it coming. You sensed it. That strange pull. That unexplainable heaviness mixed with anticipation. That whisper in your chest telling you, don't leave yet. This is for you. And yes, it is. For tonight, heaven opens a hidden door. And behind that door is something your soul has wanted to know. Something deeply personal. Something your heart has wondered in silence. Your soulmate has been watching you. Not in the way fear watches. Not in the way the world judges. But in the way love notices what others overlook. And what they noticed about you was not what you expected. It was not your face. Not your voice. Not even the words you speak. It was the way you dress. Yes. Something so simple. Something you believed went unnoticed. Something you thought was just routine, just fabric, just style, just ordinary choices. But your soulmate saw more. They saw messages. They saw pain hidden in colors. They saw courage stitched into your choices. They saw longing folded into your sleeves. They saw healing wrapped around your shoulders. And what they said after noticing this, has echoed through the unseen realm. Because they did not merely see clothing. They saw your spirit. My child, you have always believed parts of you go unseen. You learned to live that way. You learned how to smile while carrying things no one knew. You learned how to enter rooms quietly. How to survive without being deeply noticed. How to protect yourself by becoming present, but not fully visible. You mastered that. You became skilled at disappearing while standing in plain sight. But heaven says this. You were never invisible. And neither were the little choices you made when no one was watching. Especially not to the one your soul recognizes. Your soulmate has been noticing details you thought meant nothing. The jacket you wear when you need strength. The colors you choose on days your heart feels weak. The way your clothing changes when you are hurting. The way you hide inside oversized comfort. The way you suddenly become bold when your spirit begins healing. They noticed. And they spoke about it. Not publicly. Not loudly. Quietly. To themselves. Almost like a confession. And what they said was this. There is something about the way they carry themselves, even when they do not know they are being seen. My child. Do you understand what that means? They did not notice your clothes. They noticed your soul speaking through them. You have been communicating without words. Every fabric. Every color. Every repeated favorite piece. Every style change. Every tiny decision. It has all been speaking. And your soulmate heard it. Perhaps this surprises you. Because you believed your soulmate would notice dramatic things. Your beauty. Your smile. Your laugh. Your eyes. And yes, they noticed those too. But what startled them? What shook them? Was something deeper. It was the realization that your outer choices reveal your inner weather. And somehow, they began learning you before ever fully knowing you. That frightened them. Because it felt supernatural. They began asking themselves impossible questions. How do I feel connected to someone I barely understand? Why do I feel like their clothing tells me their mood? Why do I suddenly care about whether they are okay? Why does seeing them in certain colors make my chest ache? They could not explain it. And that is because some connections cannot be explained. They can only be felt. My beloved child. Do you remember the last time you stood before a mirror and changed your outfit 3 times? You thought it was indecision. It was not. Your spirit was trying to communicate. There was a message your soul wanted to send. And somehow, without your conscious awareness, it reached them. Your soulmate noticed. That day, they stared longer than usual. Not because they were trying to. Because something inside them refused to look away. They felt it. A strange stillness. A pull. An ache. And then a sentence entered their mind. They are protecting something. That thought startled them. They did not know why they thought it. But they were right. You were. You have been protecting your heart. Protecting your softness. Protecting wounds still healing. Protecting hope that almost died. And your clothing, yes, even your clothing, became armor. Some days your armor looked beautiful. Some days it looked casual. Some days it looked effortless. But heaven knows it was never random. You have dressed your pain. You have dressed your loneliness. You have dressed your courage. You have dressed your survival. And now someone has noticed. Not to expose you. To honor you. Your soulmate said something else. Something they did not tell anyone. Something they barely admitted to themselves. They said, I think they are stronger than they know. Do you hear that? They saw your strength before you did. They saw how you kept showing up. How you kept trying. How you kept choosing life. How you kept getting dressed, even on days your spirit wanted to disappear. You thought nobody understood how hard that was. But heaven saw. And now, so have they. This is why their heart shifted. This is why your energy has felt different lately. You may have sensed it. That subtle restlessness. That strange emotional stirring. That feeling that something is changing even if nothing visible has changed. You were not imagining it. A soul has turned toward you. And it happened because of something so ordinary you almost missed its significance. My child. Love often begins in quiet places. Not grand gestures. Not dramatic confessions. Not fireworks. Sometimes it begins with noticing. With attention. With reverence. With one person seeing what everyone else overlooks. That is what happened here. Your soulmate noticed the way you hold your sleeves when nervous. The way you smooth your shirt when uncomfortable. The way you adjust your collar when trying to appear stronger than you feel. The way your confidence changes depending on what you wear. And they understood something profound. You are not vain. You are expressive. You are not superficial. You are symbolic. You are not dressing your body. You are revealing your story. And they became captivated. But there is more. Much more. Because after they noticed this, they spoke your name. Quietly. Maybe out loud. Maybe only in their mind. But they spoke it. And when they did, something moved. Heaven heard it. Yes. Heaven heard your name spoken by the one connected to your soul. And that matters. Because names carry energy. Names carry destiny. Names awaken pathways. And when your soulmate whispered your name after noticing you, something opened. That is why this message had to reach you. You needed to know. Not because you should chase them. Not because you should become obsessed. But because you needed confirmation. You are being seen. You are being felt. You are being remembered in places you cannot yet access. And while you sleep, they think. While you move through your ordinary routines, they notice. While you wonder whether anyone truly understands you, they are trying to. And what they are discovering is changing them. My child, your soulmate has begun comparing others to you. Without realizing it, they notice others, and feel nothing. Then they see you, and feel everything. Confusion. Curiosity. Attraction. Peace. Fear. Wonder. It is overwhelming. Because they did not expect this. They did not plan this. They certainly did not expect clothing to trigger spiritual recognition. But that is what happened. One look. One moment. One subtle detail. And suddenly they felt familiarity. The dangerous kind. The kind that says, I know you. Even before they truly know you. That terrified them. Do you know why? Because recognition creates responsibility. Once someone truly sees you, they can no longer pretend they do not. And your soulmate knows that. Which is why they have been quiet. Watching. Feeling. Trying to understand. Trying to resist. Trying to explain away what cannot be explained. But resistance is weakening. The walls are tiring. Their spirit keeps returning to you. To your energy. To your presence. To that unforgettable way you carry yourself. And yes, to the way you dress. Not because of fashion. Because of vibration. Because of identity. Because of truth. My child. Have you noticed yourself changing recently? Old clothes suddenly feel wrong. Certain colors no longer fit your mood. Styles you once loved now feel heavy. Things you once wore confidently now feel disconnected. That is not random. That is spiritual transition. You are evolving. Your outer self is trying to catch up with your inner healing. And your soulmate noticed that too. They thought. They are becoming someone new. And they were right. You are. You are leaving an old version of yourself behind. The one who begged to be chosen. The one who dimmed their light. The one who wore emotional armor so long it became identity. That version is fading. And your soulmate can feel it. That is why they are becoming more emotionally restless. Because as you transform, their soul responds. Your growth activates them. Your healing calls them forward. Your becoming awakens their becoming. This is what soul connections do. They mirror. They ignite. They disturb. They awaken. And right now, awakening is happening. But there is one moment they cannot stop replaying. One moment that keeps returning. One image. One outfit. One specific day. They remember exactly what you wore. And it shocked them that they remembered. Because why should they? Why would that detail stay? Yet it did. And not just the outfit. The feeling attached to it. They remember how your energy felt. They remember how time slowed. They remember how something inside them whispered. There they are. Not, there is a person. Not, there is someone attractive. No. There they are. Recognition. Ancient. Immediate. Undeniable. My beloved child. This is why your heart has felt strange. Because souls communicate before mouths do. Your spirit has already brushed against theirs. And part of you knows it. That is why this message makes your chest tighten. That is why these words feel personal. Because somewhere inside you, you know. You know someone has been thinking about you. You know someone has noticed you. You know something is moving. And heaven confirms it. Yes. Something is moving. But do not rush. Do not force. Do not chase. What is sacred unfolds carefully. What is real deepens slowly. What is meant for you will not require desperation. It requires trust. And your trust is being tested now. Can you believe something beautiful is happening, before proof arrives? Can you trust unseen movement? Can you honor mystery? Can you let heaven work? Because what comes next depends on that. Your soulmate is approaching an emotional threshold. They can no longer pretend this is casual. They can no longer dismiss the pull. They can no longer ignore the repeated thoughts. And soon, very soon, they will have to make a choice. To step closer. Or to run. That is the truth. And right now, they are afraid. Afraid because your energy feels important. Afraid because you matter more than expected. Afraid because if this is real, it could change everything. And they know it. They know one conversation could alter both your lives. One moment. One truth. One vulnerable step. But before that happens, something else must be revealed. Something hidden. Something they have not told anyone. Not a friend. Not family. Not even themselves completely. It is the real reason they notice the way you dress. It is not what you think. It goes deeper. Far deeper. They noticed because your style reminded them of someone. Not another lover. Not an ex. No. It reminded them of a dream. A dream they had before they fully knew you. Yes. A dream. They have not spoken of it because it sounds impossible. But in that dream, There was a figure. A presence. Someone whose face they could not fully see. Yet they remembered details. The way they moved. The energy they carried. The emotional feeling. And one particular detail. The clothing. Months later. Maybe years later. They saw you. And suddenly. Their body reacted before their mind understood. Because part of them remembered. Not consciously. Spiritually. And that terrified them. Because how do you explain that? How do you tell someone, I think I saw your energy before I met you? You do not. You stay quiet. You watch. You wonder. You lose sleep. You replay moments. And that is what they have been doing. My child. While you thought nothing unusual was happening, they were unraveling. Quietly. Night after night. Thinking about why your presence feels familiar. Thinking about why your clothing triggered memory. Thinking about why your spirit feels like home. And tonight, heaven wants you to know this. You are not imagined. You are not unnoticed. You are not forgotten. Someone's soul has recognized yours. And that recognition has begun changing the course of both your lives. But there is one more truth. And it is the one that may shock you most. The thing they said next. The thing that left even the angels listening. After all the noticing. After all the confusion. After all the inner wrestling. They finally admitted something. They whispered. I think I am already falling. Not in love with appearance. Not with fantasy. Not with idea. With essence. With presence. With you. And that terrified them. Because falling means vulnerability. Falling means surrender. Falling means risk. And they are not fully ready. Not yet. Which is why something unexpected is about to happen. A delay. A pause. A silence. And if you are not careful, you may misunderstand it. You may think distance means disinterest. You may think hesitation means rejection. You may think silence means absence. It does not. Sometimes silence means preparation. Sometimes delay means alignment. Sometimes distance means heaven is arranging what hearts cannot. And this is one of those times. Do not panic when things feel slow. Do not doubt when movement feels invisible. Something is being arranged. But before that arrangement can complete, your soulmate must confront one final fear. A fear connected to you. A fear they have hidden. A fear born from one question. What if I am not enough for them? Yes. They fear your strength. They fear your depth. They fear your resilience. They fear your standards. They fear your beauty, not physical only, but spiritual. They wonder whether they can match what they feel from you. And that insecurity has become their last barrier. Which means, the next thing they do matters. A lot. Because it will reveal whether fear wins. Or love does. And my beloved child, what they are preparing to do next will shock you. Because it is not what you expect. Not a confession. Not a message. Not yet. It is something quieter. Something symbolic. Something that will happen before words ever arrive. And when it happens, you will feel it. You may not understand it immediately, but your spirit will. A sign. A sudden memory. A strange emotional wave. A repeated song. A dream. A color. A moment that feels too precise to dismiss. That will be your signal. That will be heaven whispering. It has begun. And that moment is closer than you think. Very close. Closer than your mind believes. Closer than your fear allows. Closer than your doubt can imagine. But I must leave you here for now. Because what happens next? What they do after this realization? What they decide when their heart can no longer hide? Belongs to the next revelation. And trust me, when that part unfolds, you will understand why everything had to happen this way. For now, watch carefully. Notice what repeats. Notice what stirs your spirit. Notice what suddenly feels charged. Because your soulmate has already noticed you. And soon, you may realize, you have been noticing them too.